see that it went to 7 again. Welcome back to Sarcastic Remarks. As always, along with Chris Chambers, my brother, I am Ryan, and we are back after a bit of a break. It's been a little bit of a crazy week, hasn't it been, Chris? For both of us, actually.
It was only one game. Calm down. We can take a game off. We're not players.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. So we're going to talk to you guys today about the recent Stars loss against the bottom feeding of the Central Division, Detroit Red Wings. And you could probably feel my feelings about that just by that comment. And then we're going to get you guys ready for tomorrow. All right. As we are recording this, it is currently 11:16 Central Time, so
On Friday.
it is on Friday, so it is very late. So let's talk about the game from Thursday, Chris, because it's same team, new game, same story. It kind of feels like, right?
Yep. Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. It's like, again, we felt like the better team. We almost outshoot them by twice as many shots. Feels like we have way more chances, and we still don't win.
I don't know what to do about this. I keep coming on here and saying that, but it's just like,
Yeah. Well, the best soundbite from yesterday was I don't remember who said it, but it was, we keep playing good and we find ways to lose.
I think
Which
that
is
was
the exact opposite. No, some player said it. And
some player said it. So maybe he stole it
That's
from
why.
a player.
Yeah. But it really sums it up perfectly, and it's the exact opposite of last season. Last season we'd play bad and we'd find a reason to win, and this season, as a team, we played decently. I would say good this game. I thought we were playing well, but we still find a way to lose, and it's goaltending, which it hasn't been. Goaltending hasn't been a problem recently. Ottinger's been playing great, and finally this game, first bad game, and we can't pull him out of it, which sucks. I'm not saying like we should give Ottinger any slack. Like, he sucked, but still, a good team would find a way to win to score 4 goals and help him out.
Especially that second goal. The second goal in the second period, that was
terrible.
And I mean, everybody knew he should have had that, and he knew it too.
He knows it too.
He knew it too.
I think the first goal's not a terrible goal, but like, it's very savable, and he would tell you that one's bad too. So he knows he was the problem today, and like, as a rookie goaltender who he's played 4 starts in a row, he's the starter now. Who is your starter? You got to expect that he's going to have games like this, and this being his first one this far into the season, like, hey, I'll take it. And it was only 3 goals. Like, he lost 3 goals, and that's his bad game. So like, we'll take that. But we only found a way to score a goal halfway through the third period.
After they had scored 3 goals.
After they had scored 3. Come on, we got to find a way to score goals. And I don't know. I feel like we were getting like better chances, but they weren't like dirtier chances like the way we were scoring goals earlier. You find it? You kind of feel the same way?
It's just hard to get behind this team right now, because it almost feels like we had all the puck luck in the world in the bubble playoffs, and we were getting the goals when it mattered, like, every single time. I mean, you who would have guessed that Kiviranta would score a hat trick in Game 7 against Colorado? Nobody would have guessed that ever. Who would have guessed that, being down 2-1 in the first round series against the Calgary Flames, that Joe Pavelski would score a game-tying goal, with seconds left in the game to force overtime, and then we'd go to win that game in overtime and then go to win the series. It just seems like we can't get any kind of luck at all, period. And I just kept watching this game, and each time that the puck went into the Detroit zone, it just seemed to bounce in the right way for Detroit to get it out of the zone, especially in the third period. And but here's my fallback on that, because at this point you can't just say, "Oh, we're getting unlucky." You have to force your own luck. The good teams get their own luck, and we're not getting that right now. So
especially against a bad team. Like, it's where we are. If we're trying to push for that fourth spot, you can't let the teams below you beat you. You have to win almost every single one of these games and steal a couple from the teams above you, if that's how you're trying to scrape your way in.
right, and that's all we expect from this team at this point. We expected them to be, well, I expected them to be fourth, but you expected them to be second in this division.
Hey, the first
And
4 games.
so did a lot of other people. So did a lot of other people. So they expected them to be up there in the top of the division, and now we're just hoping to scrape to get fourth. And I tweeted right after yesterday. I was just like, this is the first time I felt like the Stars don't have any chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, when you lose to a team this bad, it's hard to feel it.
Yeah, and you feel like, I felt this way for weeks now, that this team is going to turn this around. Okay, they're finally playing well. Like, we had that stretch where we were losing games, but we were losing games because we were sucking.
Too.
Yeah, we were sucking it up. Yeah, like, we weren't playing well at all. I mean, Dobby was the only.
It feels like we're playing good and losing.
Right, exactly, and that's the point. Is that we're playing well, we're playing better, we're getting the results we want, we're getting the chances we want. We're almost always out-chancing every team we play. But then we get these lopsided games. The 4-0 game you talked about a couple of weeks ago, that we felt like we should have been leading, and we were losing 4-0. And then the same in this game. I was this close. I'll go ahead and tell you this, but I was this close to turning off the Red Wings game. And then Rope Hintz made it
after that third goal.
Yeah, I was this close. I was just like, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching my team lose to the worst team in the division that we will see this entire season. And then 25 seconds later, Rope made it interesting. It was over at that point anyways, but still. So, Chris, what do we got to do? Do we just keep doing the same thing and hope it goes our way, or what do we do?
Well, I think the reason stuff like this is happening, so we'll say the big difference between this season and last season is that last season we would find ways to win, and this season we're finding ways to lose. I kind of want to key in on that. And if you think about just big picture, why can we find ways to win games last season but not this season? The big difference is injuries still. Like, I know we talk about it a lot, but I feel like we have the most important people injured from anyone in the league. Like, 2 of our highest paid players are out for the majority of the season. Ben Bishop and Tyler Seguin being out hurts like crazy. And it's so much easier now to see now that Dobby isn't playing the best hockey of his life. Like,
and we're relying on
back down to earth.
And we're relying on a 22-year-old goaltender to stay afloat and doggy paddle.
Yeah. Ben Bishop could win us games when we sucked. We could be playing terrible, and he could somehow make us win. Like, he's that good. He is a Vezina candidate every season because he's an outstanding goalie. Tyler Seguin can take over games sometimes. Rope Hintz is in and out, so we'll say he's playing half the games this season. That's pretty much what it's been.
And he's second on the Stars in scoring.
He's shown that he can take over games. So the more players you have out that can be big difference makers in the games, your chances of finding a way to win go down and down and down. And that's why we can't find ways to win, and we keep finding ways to lose. Those people who turn the needle just another tick, another tick, another tick, they're gone. We're missing all of them. They're all back here. And the guys who can push the needle, they just have to be on every night, and that's just not a likely thing to happen. You can't just say, Jamie Benn, you have to play great every night, because that's not going to happen.
That's not realistic, right?
It's not
for
realistic.
Any player.
But when you have more and more players to
unless you're Connor McDavid.
Unless you're Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon. But if you have more and more people pushing that needle, you have a higher and higher chance that one of them will make the play that you need. Someone will make the big play to turn the tide in the game. Get that goal when you're slipping. Make that big save when the other team is pushing. But when we don't have those big players, the needle's not in our favor. So that's the reason. What you need to do when you don't have those players is you keep doing this and you hope that somebody does it. Like that's what a bubble team, like a team trying to get in the playoffs, does. They don't have the skill to win those games, but I think right now we're doing as best we can, and other teams are playing well against us because we are the reigning Western Conference champions. So I think we're getting everyone's best, and I think we don't have the guys who can push the needle. So we just need to keep playing our best hockey that we can and hope that one of the guys that can push the needle can make a play in the game to win the game. So I think a game like this, there's not much you can do. You got to say somebody has to step up.
So here's my thought on all of this is, and this is kind of goes with a question with it to you as well. So when you look at the Stanley Cup contenders, who everyone considers to be the contenders, okay? You look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. You look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. You look at Vegas. You look at these teams that are top 2, top 3 in their division. They have multiple depth players that can provide the offensive side of the puck, and I feel that for the Stars at least, that offensive depth is not as deep as many teams in the league. And one of the things that, we've talked about for years now, and especially with the Stars playing better the past couple of years, going 2 rounds into the playoffs 2 years ago, and then this past year going all the way to the Stanley Cup final, was the depth that the Stars had. And now my thought is, and I guess my question is the Stars' depth really that good? Or is it just we just have a lot of bottom 6, middle 6 guys and no top tier talent to help fill those spots when those players like Sagan and Radulov and Bishop and Hintz are out? I think, is our depth that good?
I think our depth guys are hard workers and good defenders. I think our depth guys are great defenders, and I think we have our best goal scorer out, definitely, in Sagan, which sucks, and we don't have a goalie who can win us a game by himself. So Ottinger, I don't think will ever be like the guy who won the game. I mean, he's close in the shutout, and it's kind of weird to say that he wasn't the reason we won a shutout, like they didn't score a goal, but like obviously he wasn't very attached to that game, but like. I think I'm agreeing with you. Like, we don't have offensive depth. And when we're missing these guys who can bring that offensive depth, like, I know Sagan's just one guy, but he's our best scorer. Like, every time he's on the ice, he's a threat.
Okay, but
other times we'll have Hintz out. Other times we'll. So I think the combination is it's a bad game, and when you don't have the players who can turn it into a good game, like even just Tyler Sagan playing good tonight. Only Tyler Sagan has a good game tonight. Everyone else plays the exact same. I think we win this game.
I don't disagree with you there, but okay. So here's my other thing: the good teams always find a way to win, regardless of who's out. I mean, you have to look at the rest of the league, and the rest of the league is dealing with a lot of the same stuff that we are. When
They're
you look
not
at
their number one goalie and their number one goal scorer.
Okay, but a lot of them are either missing one or both, or different players at different times. I mean, you look at Tampa Bay; they haven't had Kucherov this entire season, and he won't play the entire season because if he plays, then they're going to be over the salary cap, and that's not gonna. So he's not going to play this season. When you look at St. Louis, Tarasenko has been out for more games than he's been in the past 2 years. But look what happened. St. Louis still did – I mean, they did bad in the bubble playoffs. But the year before, they went to the Stanley Cup final mostly without Tarasenko. And then when you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning this year, they're still playing well. They're the best team in the Central Division without
the player.
And
they both have their number one goalie. We don't have a number one goalie, and we don't have that player.
Yes, but we can't make excuses for that sort of thing. And I don't know.
I think if you're missing 2 of your best guys, that's a pretty valid excuse. yes, we have to find a way to get in, but I just think you're going to have games like this that you just can't because you don't have good enough players to do it when those guys are hurt.
Well,
Like, our roster is good enough. The players on the ice are not.
right now, yes, I would agree with
So
that.
we're
Yeah.
gonna have games. So we're gonna have games like this where we play good, but the one guy doesn't step up and do it. Because that's what ultimately in hockey, there's few goals scored. So you can play an entire good period and it could be tied just because they have one good play and you only capitalize once. That's just the way hockey is. So some guy has to step up and do it. Like, eventually, some guy has to be the guy to score the goal. That's just the nature of hockey. Like in basketball, if you're playing good, you're going to be scoring more points. That doesn't happen in hockey. Some guy has to step up and make a big play to score the goal.
Well,
When you have those big guys out, it's harder to do that.
so let's talk about a couple of stats that are kind of concerning to me, I would say. And this has continued, it seems like, for the past couple weeks as well. So in this game, Dallas outshot the team again by a large margin, by a huge margin, almost a 2-1 margin again. And that seemed to be a recent thing with the Stars. Like earlier in the season, it was either they were getting outshot or they were about the same. But it seems like since they've started playing better, that we've outshot the opposition by a ton. And in some cases, almost like triple the amount of shots that the other team has done. So what are the Stars doing wrong? Is it that we are just taking not high quality shots, which I don't think that's true, or are we just not capitalizing on the chances that we get? Is that really just it? We're just not capitalizing.
Yeah, I think it's not capitalizing, and that goes back to my point of our guys who do capitalize and are superstars because they capitalize aren't playing like Sagan. And Radulov has been out, and Hintz is out sometimes. I mean, this game they're both in, but I don't believe Radulov's at 100% yet, and Hintz obviously isn't, and he's still scoring goals. So, but it's just tough. Like, again, there's just that one guy who pushes the needle. So maybe if you have Sagan in this game, you win. And if you have Sagan and Bishop in, just moves the needle more. You get the metaphor. You get what I'm saying.
Right.
I think it's just those guys making the big plays. And when you're missing two big guys like that, man, it sucks. And I think this is the game where you can feel it most. When you're playing good and you just need one more thing. You need one more thing to happen and you can't get it.
Well,
I think that's just why I'm stuck on that point.
Well, and what's frustrating is that we all went to that one game back during spring break. I think it was a week and a half ago. And we were like, every time the Stars had the puck in the offensive zone, we were all yelling, shoot, 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 shoot. You, me, James, and Amanda. All of us were just yelling, shoot. And it seemed, and they're listening to us, and they're taking more shots, and they're high-quality shots, but we just don't have the players to finish it. But we still...
Well, and that's a good example of the point, right? Like, the game that we went to, we won by 4 goals. Like, those guys all capitalized at that time. Like, they all did. And in this game, they just don't. Like, there's not... Someone's just got to do it. And it's just when you have less guys who can do it, it's obviously less likely to happen.
All right, and here's another concerning thing. So last year, the Stars were really good at... They had a really good record when it was a 1-goal game. Right? So they had a really good record when they were just up by 1 goal. And it seems like this year we're just, finding ways to lose by 1 goal. And it's not
Yes.
and it's not like we've been blown out a bunch of games. We had the one blowout against I already forgot, but it was like a
I don't know, but I feel like it's like 3. We've had 3 games we've got blown out in.
See, I'm only thinking of 2. I'm only thinking of 2. But okay, that's not the point. But
you can keep
we gotta win these 1-goal games, and for Pete's sake, we gotta find a way to win in overtime and shootouts. And that just goes back to, I guess that Sagan and Bishop are really just that big of a difference for the Stars here in these games.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. Like it feels like just one thing needs to happen. So having those two guys who can make that one thing happen is such a big deal. Like just having those playmakers. But yeah, I just I agree. It's frustrating, and someone has to decide. Someone's got to step up more. Like you think of who it should be. Like Jamie Benn, obviously he's been not the same
Well, okay, but
since his new contract.
hold on.
He played good. I will
He's
agree. He
played,
played good this game.
and you see, we were criticizing him a couple of podcast episodes ago, and then I went back and looked at saw his stats on the Detroit game, and it's like he had 5 points in his last 6 games. So
Yeah.
he was just doing it. I guess he was doing it quietly, or there were just some boneheaded decisions that he made that we just didn't like. Or
when guys are out, someone has to step up and fill the role. And when we think that someone needs to fill a role, our brains go to Jamie Benn. Like
he
needs
has
to do more. He needs to find a way to do more than what he has been the past 2 seasons. Because if he doesn't, we're not going to win games because we're missing a whole Tyler Seguin and Ben Bishop. So we need some people to step up. And he's been playing fine. But like if we're trying to push for the playoffs when we're missing 2 of our best players, we were missing 3 of our best players with Gurionov out for like 3 weeks.
Radulov.
Yeah, Radulov. Sorry, the other Russian. We need somebody to step up and just score goals, and nobody could really do it.
Well, and I mean, we have had players that have stepped up this year. Like Hens has played better
individually,
yeah,
in individual games as well is what I mean.
Yeah, that's true.
No one's stepped up overall and just filled it. Like Pavelski has a little bit.
He's 36 years old.
He's
I mean, you can't expect him.
Off.
You can't expect him to play 20 minutes a night and him be extremely effective.
Well, he's not supposed to be our number 1 goal scorer. The fact that Pavelski's our number 1 goal scorer
is a problem.
Says more bad about the other players than it is good for
right.
them.
And see, that's a good analogy because when you look at, my mind goes to Buffalo. So at least we're not Buffalo, right? I'm so thankful we're not Buffalo. Because when you look at their top goal scorer, they have Sam Reinhart, who scored 11 goals. And the only reason why I know this is because I watched a hockey guy video about the Buffalo Sabres. And their 3 top scorers for that team have 6 combined goals. So Eichel, Olofsson, and Skinner. And when there are certain players up at the top of the goal scoring charts, like Lazar should not be one of your top goal scorers, and Pavelski shouldn't be our top goal scorer either. But he has to be because we don't have any people to play center right now. So I'm just very frustrated with this season, and I feel, and now that we're sitting here talking about it, this is almost like a therapist session for me with the Stars, because it's almost
hopefully for y'all too.
Hopefully it's for everybody else too, but it's just frustrating because it feels like this team is so good and we should be doing well, and we're so close to winning all of these games. We just need just a little bit extra, or just this one thing needs to go right, and we'll be okay. And it just seems like each time there's something that falters. Either Ottinger doesn't make the save that he normally does, or our special teams really suck, or we don't get the goal at the time that we need it. Like if Rope had scored that goal 30 seconds before that, it'd be a 2-2.
Detroit scored theirs.
It'd be a 2-2 tie.
2-1.
And
well,
2-1, and then the Dickinson goal came later.
We would have kept the pressure
right.
on, I think you're correct.
Okay, and then here's another one more stat that's frustrating to me over the past couple games, is that the only time the Stars seem to score goals is when. Any idea?
Recently 6-on-5.
So 6-on-5, or in the last 10 minutes of the third period, and that's when the sense of urgency goes up. So that sense,
We've talked about that too. That's got to happen sooner.
right?
I imagine that's where you're
Right.
going, but I got excited about the point because I hadn't thought about it.
Right. So that's the point. The sense of urgency is just not there. And we played great at the beginning of the first period. We played great. We did. But I still felt that sense of urgency was not there. And in the back of your mind, and at this point, with the way the season is going, you've got to be thinking, I don't want the gang to get away from us. And if we don't score a goal now, when we have the pressure and we're pushing on this team, and we spent the entire first period in the Detroit zone. You got to be thinking in the back of your head that we're going to make one mistake and they're going to go the other way, and it's going to go in the back of our net at the way that this season is going. and that's happened. Seven games, 6-7 games. It's felt like now that we've had an opportunity,
and way more in individual periods. We're like, yeah, we won that period, and
we're down
by one goal in that period.
Right. So I would say the second period we kind of got they started to push back, and it was kind of more equal. Yeah. But the third period, again, we dominated, and they still scored. And then the first period, we dominated, and they still scored.
One scoring chance in the third period, and they scored on it. And the first period is really where it is. Like, when we're playing that good, somebody has to decide to score. Like, you've got to say, we've got to score now. I agree with that sense of urgency. And I think it should be there anytime we're playing well. Like, we've got to score now. We can't wait and be like, oh, goals will come. We're playing good. We've got to be like, no, we've got to go
right
now. So I like that point. I like that point a lot.
It's a sense of urgency.
I want to talk about one more stat, which has sucked a lot recently, and that's the power plays. No one can score a power play goal except Joe Pavelski on this team, apparently. They've sucked on power plays a lot. Like, I think Heiskanen and Klinger should just shoot more. And I think Guryanov has also stopped doing his one-timer, which is stupid. He should be doing what he did in the playoffs, and every time he gets the puck, it's immediately shot. He shouldn't be trying to make passes. He should get the puck and shoot it like he's Ovechkin, because he has that good of a one-timer. Like, he should shoot the one-timer every chance he has. So, and we've got to get that pass to him. Like, it seems like he hasn't been getting that pass, and that's why he stopped doing it, because he doesn't expect to get it. He doesn't expect to get a good one-timer pass.
And again, I'll jump on your point with my point. When we have the power plays, that sense of urgency, that sense of let's go and get a goal is not there, and it's frustrating.
Well, not just let's go and get a goal. We need a goal. We have the chance.
Well, not even need a goal. We have to get a goal. Not need. We have to get a goal. And there's more urgency with the word have than there is with need. Man, I'm starting to sound like I'm a band teacher, not an English teacher. I need to stop that. But like the
sarcastic remarks, English connotation lessons.
There you go. Yeah, lessons with Ryan. It's just that sense of urgency from this team. And they have players.
And it's always there in the last 10 minutes.
Right, and that's the frustrating thing. And
because it's there, we can see it, and they just don't do it whenever in the middle of the games.
Right, exactly. And even though they are missing a lot of players, they're putting up a fight. They are, and they're doggy paddling. I mean, we're almost close to drowning. We really are.
Yeah, we're keeping close to 500, which is the only reason I'm still feeling hope. Like, if we start dipping now, like, I expect this game we're going to win, and we'll be back to 500, and I'll feel much better about myself. I don't know why that number makes me feel better, but it does. And then I'll feel like, okay, we're right there. So, like, if we can get above 500, I still feel like we have a chance. But as soon as we get below 500 and then we lose 3 games in a row or something, that's gonna be tough to pull out of. And we're getting later in the season for us not to make a run. The good thing is
there's still a lot of hockey to play. Oh yeah, and that too. Chicago has fallen off their hot start a little bit, but they're still fourth in the division because the rest of the teams below them can't seem to figure it out. Columbus has been playing just as bad as we have. Nashville has not been playing well. Detroit has been playing better as of late, but still, it's like who's the biggest loser for fourth place?
Yeah, and that's what I think is going to happen now. I think now that Chicago's kind of fallen off of the face of the earth, like their bad skill is finally catching up to them. Like, all right, dumpster fire to fourth place. And I think if we can stay at 500 and get Sagan and Bishop back and actually have an actual starting goalie who is a great goalie, then we can get there so easily. I just don't think it's that far off as long as we stay at 500. Like, as long as we can hold on to that, I feel like there's a chance. And all we gotta do is win the dumpster race to fourth place.
Well, it's gonna be a lot.
So there's your hope for the episode.
So,
all right, next game.
yep.
Let's get on.
Yeah, because
first, big question: who's starting?
I don't know, man.
Let's just go with the hardest question.
That is a hard one. Ottinger. I'm gonna say Ottinger.
I agree.
Even though he did let in a bad goal, he didn't let in 4 bad goals on 8 shots.
I think he let in 2 bad
I need to let that go.
He did not let in 4 bad goals in 8 shots.
I need to let that go.
It's tough. It's tough.
So
okay, they weren't 4 bad goals, but still 4 goals in 8 shots.
You gotta save one of those. Sorry, Dobby. We love you, man. We appreciate you for what you did for us, but like we're trying. We gotta make the playoffs again, man. Maybe we.
So this is my thought process of leaving Ottinger. If you're gonna say he's the number 1 goalie, then he's the number 1 goalie.
But Bonus is not coming out and saying that. And then
he started in 4 games in a row. As far as I'm concerned, he started in 4 games in a row. Dobby was completely ready to go, and he started Ottinger. That means he's the starting goalie. So if he's gonna play a bad game and you're gonna take him out because of it, that's just gonna put your goalies on edge. Then they're not gonna play as good. Ride a guy. If you want him to be the starting goalie, then when he plays a bad game, you put him right back in and tell him to redeem himself. If you keep saying, all right, 1 bad thing and we're yanking you, like who can play well knowing that if they have an off night, they're out the next game? Like, I think that's a terrible idea. If you want to say he's the starter, and when you start him 4 straight games in this schedule, there's not like that's what you're saying. You're saying this guy is playing better. Then ride him out and trust your gut.
That's a good point. I like that. But you could say the same thing about say the same thing about Dobby though, because
he decided he changed his mind. He changed it. He said he changed it to Ottinger as the starter. Dobby had multiple bad games in a row. That's fair. If you say Ottinger had 1 bad game, the first bad one of his rookie career, and then you yank him, that's way more sudden. If he has 2 more pretty off games, I would say yeah, the conversation is back again, and we'll trade him off. But if you're going to start him 4 games in a row, you're saying he's the starter, leave him in there. And then I would play Dobby on Sunday because of the back-to-back.
Just because it is a back-to-back.
Because of the back-to-back, because of yeah.
Maybe, but again, Ottinger is a 22-year-old guy, so maybe he can handle it.
He needs confidence from his coach.
And maybe Bonus came to that realization that this whole flip-flopping goalies thing is not working for the Stars. And having that consistency in that is very important. And he just decided, yeah, Ottinger's the better goaltender right now. We're going to ride him. And to your point, maybe that's what he's doing.
One thing real quick while we're talking about Bones and rookies and stuff.
Oh, here we go.
So on Tuesday, we pushed the game to overtime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who started that game? It was Foxa, Cogliano, and Lindell started the overtime.
Mm-hmm.
You know who didn't see a second of ice time in overtime?
Robertson?
Denis Gurianov. One of the Stars' top scorers did not touch the ice in overtime against the Tampa Bay Lightning. and he said it's because he's having a bad game. I don't care if he's having a bad game. He's Dennis freaking Gurianov. He can score a goal at will, it seems like sometimes. Like, all it takes is one thing to go his way, and he can go score a goal. It doesn't matter if he's having a bad game. If Ben's having a bad game, you're still putting him out there in overtime. That's so dumb. I don't know what it is about Gurianov and Bones, but he has no faith in him at all. Like last season, he's our top goal scorer. The beginning of the season, he was in the AHL. Are you kidding me? Like, I don't know what it is, why the staff doesn't like Gurianov, but, like, it doesn't matter. He's one of your top goal scorers. Play him. Okay, move on.
Rants by Christian Chambers.
That pisses me off, dude. Play Gurianov.
Well, since you brought up rookies, let's bring out Delandria. What?
I thought he still played
I
good.
thought he played
I
okay.
think he has a chance to score where Caro and whatever the other guy's name, I don't even freaking know, don't. They don't have a chance to score, ever. So I don't know why he's ever out. It's frustrating.
So
he's ready to play. Give him a chance.
So I do have to mention this, and I think Razor was waiting for the chance to say this. It was like one of the first things he said on the broadcast. But Cogliano was not able to go because of an illness, and that's like he's missed like very few games in his 14 NHL career, 14 NHL season career.
He held like the Iron Man kind of award for like 3 seasons, right?
Oh, it was longer than that.
Something
but
like that.
they put Kiviranta on that line, so instead of the FCC or the CDC, it's now the KFC line. I love Razor. They're just gonna keep finding ways to make that third line into like a funny acronym of some kind, and it was awesome.
It's great. I love it.
But I don't know if I like that addition of Kiviranta on that third line.
No, I did not.
I understand that Dickinson is a center and everything, but I would have much preferred to see him on that line with Foxa and Como.
We just need him to take. We have no one else to take draws.
And that's
like,
the problem.
Really
that's exactly the problem right there. And
But yeah, I don't expect that line to be a thing ever again.
Well, hopefully Cogliano just comes right back in. So, all right. What else do we got to see from the Stars on Saturday, Sunday?
Well,
how about a power play that actually scores?
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I feel like that's the only thing you should be practicing right now is to score power play goal, because that's another trend this season. So one trend is that we just can't score a goal when we need it. The other one is special teams has sucked.
On both sides of the puck.
Special teams battle every game. Yeah, the special teams battle overall we lose. That battle.
And
especially in a season where they're calling more penalties, that sucks. It's killing.
And especially when we win the special teams battle, we've won the game. Every time. Every time we won the special teams battle, even if goaltending has let us down a little bit, we've won the game. So,
and special teams is a very coaching thing.
Yeah.
Like, the difference in coaching on special teams, that's where you can see it the most. That's why I think it's so frustrating. Like, I don't know. I don't know who's the special teams coach. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find it, but whoever it is, come on, dude.
It's frustration all the way across, so. All right.
And that comes with no practice, too. Like, how are we supposed to get better at it if we never have a practice day? So,
it's just this season.
Even weirder for us. It sucks. Every time, so I kind of listen to the opposing team's broadcast for a little bit sometimes, and every time the opposing team's broadcast always talks about how crazy our schedule is. So, like, it's not everybody doesn't have our schedule. Our schedule is nuts. Even other teams looking at us who are in the same season.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Their schedule
Speaking
sucks.
of which, let me mention this because this ticked me off. I was like, you got to be kidding me, right? So, I was listening to the LFR videos that Steve Dangle does, which, by the way, if you haven't watched one of his videos, it's hilarious. You don't even have to be a Leafs fan to enjoy it. He goes through the video. He's really funny. Go watch his videos. But on one of his videos, he was talking about what was upcoming for the Leafs. They have 4 days off. They played a back-to-back, and then they have another 4 days off.
Imagine.
I cannot believe that.
It could be us.
I cannot believe that. Okay, and one more stat I want to leave y'all with, and we'll close it up because this is getting long. We've been talking a long time. That's what happens when we don't do it for a while. The last stat I wanted to talk about is the games in hand that we have over the other teams in our division, and we're going to continue to have that for a little while. But it's slowly going to start trickling back up to where we catch up to everybody else. Everybody's talking about, oh, it's okay. Yeah, we're treading water. We're slightly drowning, but we're okay right now. We're just trying to wait for Bishop and Sagan. I was thinking Ben Bishop, yeah. Bishop and Sagan to get back. And we have those games. Well, here's the problem. When you have those games in hand, you have to win those games in hand. I mean, that's great. That's great. You have games in hand, but you have to win those games. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, if we win the next 5 games, then we're right up there in the top of the division again. And I'm like, great.
You're not gonna win the
you
next
gotta,
5 games.
but you have to win 5 games in a row to do that. And
yeah, that's not likely.
Right now,
I think the important stat to look at, especially just because we're still 5 games behind pretty much every other team in our division.
right? I think there's one other team that we're 3 behind or 4 behind or something. Let me look.
Something like that. But the stat y'all should be looking at right now is point percentage. So in point percentage, we're like right at where Columbus is pretty much. So points right now, we're second to last in the division. We're obviously not worse than Nashville. Nashville is worse than us. That is a undeniable fact.
Well, yeah, but now we are. If you look at points percentage, which a lot of teams are,
we are below Columbus because Columbus has been playing better.
We are below Columbus now. All right, so we have,
but by 1
right.
win.
Okay, so the good news is, and like you said, is that the top 3 teams in our division, we have only.
They're gonzo. We're donezo.
Yeah, we're only 3. We only have 3 games in hand over those teams. Now,
but those teams don't matter. Those teams are going to be the top 3 teams.
More than
that's
likely.
done.
And then then over Chicago, we have 5 games in hand. Columbus, we have 5. Nashville, we have 4. Detroit, we have 5. So the teams that we have to beat, those teams have already played those games. So that helps a little bit. But at the same time, you got to win those games. You have to win. If you're going to say, oh, well, if we win those 5 games, Chicago has, that if you add 10 points to our total right now, that puts us in 4th place in the division. But at the same time, you have to win all 5 of those games.
We're not going to win all 5.
Right.
Yeah. So don't hold on to that. Look at point percentage. That kind of tells more of the story, I think, right now.
Well, it just tells you that 3 of the teams in our division are whipping up on everybody else right now. So
yeah, those 3 teams are gone. We're not going to get 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. That's donezo. So anybody who's still thinking about that, stop. You're wrong.
Right. So we just underperformed this year so far. So, all right.
Well, as expected, a little bit when we have those guys out.
Okay.
And Dobby doesn't do what he did.
That doesn't help. So, okay, all right. We're kind of talking in circles now. So, we got anything else to talk about, Chris? Or are we good?
Detroit bad. Red colors bad. Little Caesars not good arena name. Joe Louis, bring back.
At least we're not the Sabres.
Yes.
Hey, there's the title for the episode right there. At least we're not the Sabres.
At least we're not the Sabres.
Okay.
That would be worse.
Yeah, that would be much worse. So, all right. Huge shout out real quick to UNT. UNT won their March Madness game and upset.
Yeah.
So good for them. That's good to see it.
Suck it, Boilermakers.
Yeah, good for them to see that. And then also the other big upset of the night was that Oral Roberts defeated OSU, Ohio State. Oral Roberts.
That's not a school. That sounds like a slur.
All right, guys. All right, we're gonna end it there tonight. Thank you guys for listening in. Along with Chris, I'm Ryan, and this has been Starcastic Remarks. You can follow us on Twitter at StarcasticR, like us on Facebook, follow us also on Instagram at Starcastic Remarks Podcast, and also on our YouTube channel where we put our lovely faces on that channel.
Mine's a little shaky because it's in my
Yep.
lap.
We will catch you guys after the game on Saturday. And then there won't be a Sunday PGR because we have our live radio show Sunday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern. So go and listen to 365 Sportscast Radio Network on their website, 365sportscast.com. And you can also ask Alexa to play 365 Sportscast. You can listen to us there. So, all right.
For post game, true post game.
Yeah, we'll be the Owen Newkirk and Bruce Levine, but not as good because those guys are awesome.
We do post those later though.
Yes,
right?
yeah, they will be up on the podcast hosts later on that evening as well. So, but no video like this one. So,
no video.
Yeah, no video because it is radio. Okay, all right. Enough of us talking. Good night, guys. Have a good night.